everybody. So welcome back. Today is going to be a diagnosis story about how I was diagnosed with PCOS. If you don't know, PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. So TLDR, my ovaries are a little messed up. I will be doing an informative video in the future on more details about what PCOS is, how it affects us, and whatnot. But today is just going to be like things that led up to my diagnosis and then the climax of my diagnosis. So I was diagnosed when I was 18. I believe I was 18. I'm very bad at timelines, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But basically, when I was 16, disclaimer. If you don't want to hear about feminine issues, leave the video right now. Okay? I'm gonna continue now. When I was 16, I first got my period. I was a little bit of like a late bloomer, I guess you would call it. I was also like extremely skinny, so I feel like that was a big factor in why I got my period so late. But I also started birth control not long after, so I didn't really realize that I had PCOS for a long time because birth control is one of the things that can be used to help control PCOS. But by the time I was about 17, I had been doing more research into birth control, like there were negative side effects that I didn't like, and I just really didn't want to be on birth control anymore. So I finally got myself off of it, and my period was normal for like a few months. And then all of a sudden I started having like missed periods. I would have like crazy strong periods and then no period at all. And then I would have periods for like 2 weeks at a time. One time I had my period for 3 months. Could you imagine how much that cost me in tampons? It was ridiculous and expensive, and it was horrible. But basically, after my about 3-month period of having my period, I went like, I think it was about 6 months that I didn't have a period at all. And like during that time, I was like freaking out. I was like, I must be pregnant. I was like, there's no way I'm pregnant, but I must be pregnant, because there was no other explanation in my mind on why I hadn't had my period in so long. And like there was really physically no way I could have been pregnant, but I still went through like 20 pregnancy tests, and I was like, I must be, like, why am I not having my period? And so I finally went to go see my primary care doctor about all of my shenanigans, because I kind of like, I thought it was normal, you know, before I had my long period of time without my period. I thought it was normal to just kind of have like your period be random, you know. I thought the girls who had their period 1 week every month and it was steady and they didn't have cramps, I thought those were like mystical creatures. I was like, they're not real, you know. But basically I went to my primary care and they were like, well, I don't know exactly what's wrong with you, but it definitely sounds like something's wrong with, you know, your stuff. So go to an OBGYN. So she got me into my OB, and basically my OB ran some blood tests and they did an internal ultrasound of my ovaries, and my testosterone was extremely high, and my ovaries showed some polycystic, I don't know the word for it. They looked polycystic, so they were like, okay, well, you clearly have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Take some birth control, you'll be fine. And that was like all they said to me about it. And I was like, I don't want to take birth control. You know, there has to be another option. You know, it can't just be, it's chronic, there's no cure, there's no thing to treat it, just deal with it, goodbye. I was like, that's bull crap. I was like, I'm not taking that for an answer. But for a while I had to, because nobody told me any other treatment options for PCOS. You know, it was birth control or you just deal with it. So for a while I went back on birth control, and I really don't like birth control. I have heard way too many horror stories. They give me poor side effects, things like that. If you like birth control, then by all means use it for your PCOS. If it helps you, that's wonderful. But personally, I didn't want to. You know, I have no qualms against it, I just didn't like it. But basically, it took me about another year, I think I was like 19, when I finally was like, okay, somebody must have a different opinion. So I found a new OBGYN. I went in, they got my previous tests and stuff to look at, and they were like, okay, you do have PCOS, so, you know, the diagnosis is correct, but there are a few things that we can try. The first thing they said was birth control, and I said, I do not want to do birth control. So the second thing they said was that the biggest time to start worrying about your PCOS was when you wanted to get pregnant. And I was like, well, I don't want to be, like, I'm 19 years old. I love babies, but I don't want them yet. So I was like, I don't want to be pregnant. So basically she was telling me if I don't want to get pregnant right now, then my only treatment option is birth control. Now, if you do want to get pregnant, there are things, like there's a diabetic medicine that they use to help treat PCOS and infertility. They wanted to get me on that, but then they were also like, well, you're also going to have crazy risk of getting pregnant if you start this. And I was like, well, I don't want to get pregnant right now. So I didn't end up starting that. But basically, I was like, it's just birth control. You know, I don't want to be on birth control. So it was about another year. I was 20 years old. I had moved to North Carolina with my husband. And I went to see a new OBGYN. The main reason I went to see a new OBGYN was because I was having some issues and things like that. So I was like, okay, well, I need to go see an OB. But while I was there, I talked to her about my PCOS. And she was the first OBGYN to tell me that there are more treatment options than just birth control. And I thought she was lying. You know, I thought she was either lying or she was gonna tell me to change my diet or something like that. You know, there are a decent amount of women with PCOS who have a larger weight than I do. And for a lot of those women, not all of those women, but for a lot of them, losing weight does help their symptoms. I can't just lose weight to help my symptoms. So I was looking for a medication. I personally don't like taking a lot of medication, but you know, when you got a problem, you need it fixed. And if your body can't fix it, then you need medicine to help you. That's what it's there for. So she told me about this medicine called spironolactone. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I'll put the tag here. But basically, it is not technically to treat PCOS, but it is to treat high testosterone. And high testosterone has a large factor in PCOS. So I'm sure you can't actually tell because I put on makeup, but I have like really bad acne all over my face. And when I was younger, I had no acne at all. Like throughout high school, I had none. And then all of a sudden when I was like 18, boom, acne. And I was like, ah, man. But I will talk about my acne struggles in a different video, but that has to do with my PCOS and my high testosterone. So she prescribed me spironolactone and this pill that's called Provera. So Provera triggers your period. So I had gone quite a while without having it, and so I took Provera and it triggered my period, and then I got on spironolactone and it started making my period regular. Now this doesn't happen for every woman, but it happened for me and I'm so thankful for it. But I've been having a little bit of issues with my period again lately, but for like 6 months I had a regular period. And I was like, oh, you know, and my cramps were less, and you know, I had less bloating, less PMS, everything like that. And I was just like, wow, this is like magic. You know, I can't believe that actual women get to feel like this each month. And I was like, those are some lucky ducks out there. But if you guys are struggling with PCOS specifically, I don't know about endometriosis, but maybe talk to your doctor about spironolactone and Provera for when you can't get your period. I know that it's really helped me, and I was like mind blown to hear that there was another option besides birth control. But I mean, I just really wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope you liked hearing my diagnosis story. It was definitely a bumpy ride. You know, diagnosis stories are never just, I had these symptoms, I went to this doctor, they told me what was wrong, I am fixed, you know. it's always like up and down, and you know, I went to this doctor, they told me this, and then I went to this doctor and then they told me this, and you know how it goes. But yeah, that's my struggle with PCOS. It definitely isn't one of my favorites, but it also, I have gotten it under control more lately. But yeah, PCOS sucks, but I really want babies in the future, so I can't just get rid of my ovaries. You know, kids really don't know how much some of us women really struggle and suffer for them. I'm gonna have my kids watch this video someday and I'm like, I went through all of that for you. But yeah, I hope this was helpful to any of you ladies struggling from PCOS. If you do know of any other treatment options or anything like that, let me know in the comments below. If you want to just share your story and your struggle with PCOS, then also let me know in the comments. I'm sure that we can make this a lovely little comment section to help support each other in our journey. And I really hope you guys have a lovely day. If you don't already, you can check out my Instagram @SoChronic, which I will link here. I share more blog stuff about things that I go through daily with my health journey and things like that. So I hope you guys check it out, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!